Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Crush. Crush is from South Africa, but he lives in the USA. So let's see what Crush has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Now I can hear. Hello, Crush.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing today?
Good, good. Enjoying my day off.
Oh, thanks so much for taking the time on your day off for the interview. Thank you.
No problem.
So tell me, how's your day going so far, your morning?
No, just got up. How's yours going?
It's been great, actually. Now in London, it's 7 p.m. now. It's in the evening, so I'm already almost done for the day today.
Oh, yeah.
Do you consider yourself to be more of a day or night person?
Well, I have to be a night person in my job.
What do you do for work, for living?
I'm an exotic dancer and adult entertainer.
Amazing. So walk me through a little bit about your both careers, how everything started.
I guess it started with the dancing. To make it simple, I'm a stripper, to make it simple. It was supposed to be a temporary gig. After COVID, I decided to, take a break and from my old career. I used to be a personal trainer.
Right.
I did extremely well as a personal trainer in Los Angeles, but kind of felt like I hit the ceiling of what that career can be. I was charging more per session than just about any trainer in the world, and I had a full book of clients. And I was training celebrities, billionaires, royal members of heads of state, and I just kind of felt like I reached the end. And I'm one of those people where if I don't have any progress I can make, I kind of start getting depressed. And and so I moved cities, and I decided, I was kind of just like between careers. I just bought a house, and my dad actually suggested that I do it for a while just to like keep myself busy. And but before fast forward a few years later, it's completely, it's taken off as its whole own career path. And here I am now, like traveling all over the country, and not soon I'll be traveling to other countries also to strip.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's great that you switch career and now you kind of find your passion and your desire, and you're living it.
Yeah, it sure definitely is
And
that.
Los Angeles is the way where you're born and raised, or not?
I was born and somewhat raised in South Africa.
Ah,
Yeah,
so
I've
it's from
seen you. I've seen you had a few other South Africans on kind of recently.
Yes, absolutely. Where's about the South Africa come from?
I'm, make it simple. I was born near Pretoria.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
And how long have you been living in the US right now?
I don't know. It's been a long time. But I've been in and out. I've also lived in some other countries, but I've pretty much been here since school.
Okay, but all your family are back in South Africa?
Pretty much everyone, yeah.
I see. And where are you based right now, Crush?
I am based in Dallas, Texas, and Houston, Texas.
I see.
Yeah.
And tell me, today it's it's Valentine's today. Today you are my Valentine's, okay?
Yeah, I was gonna say Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. So tell
You guys
me.
celebrate that in England?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Actually, fun enough, I'm originally from Brazil, and in Brazil we celebrate Valentine's in June. It's interesting. I mean, I think nowadays, because it became with social media, it became so popular everywhere that in Brazil they remember the day and they kind of celebrate. But officially, we celebrate in June, right? So as we are celebrating Valentine's Day today, how do you see the date? Do you kind of celebrate when you are with someone? Tell me experience or a funny story or a moment that you had on Valentine's Day that you're never gonna forget.
I don't think I have one, to be honest.
Okay.
I do celebrate it. I do have a partner right now, and we're gonna celebrate a little bit tonight, but nothing crazy because it is such a, for me, it's a bit of an annoying holiday because all the restaurants have, reservations taken, everything basically that you can think about doing with your partners like booked out, and it's crazy and it's expensive. So we're just gonna we're gonna cook a meal here at home for each other, and so and I don't really know if I have a particularly from my past a memorable Valentine's Day. I'm not a big holiday person in general,
All right.
uh, because to me, especially because I don't have any family in the U.S., the holidays have never really been, special or unique. I just kind of wait for them to be over so that everyone will come back out.
Now, from now on, every Valentine's Day, we're gonna remember. Actually, I had an interview from Willie the Magic Box on Valentine's Day. Now we're gonna remember always.
Yeah, sure.
Crush, so before we start our journey, Willie the Magic Box, would you like to tell me something interesting about yourself or something that not many people know about you?
Um, I guess, I was gonna, I usually answer that question by telling people I'm from South Africa because I have an American accent. A lot of people, are a little bit shocked that I'm from South Africa, even though, my accent's American, and but I still speak Afrikaans very fluently, because that's what my family speaks. Uh, but I guess another thing is, I guess you could say I used to be a international and Division I college and like professional basketball player in my past.
Oh, wow.
And actually, I used to actually play for South Africa's national team a long time ago.
Wow. Which sport is that? Say it again.
Basketball.
Basketball. Oh, wow. And you still play sometimes or not? Just in the past right now?
Nope, never play anymore.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Very good. So I believe you are quite tall then.
Yeah, relatively. I'm 6'5".
You are tall. Crush, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Sure, let's do it.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I've got here my best friend. Okay, floor from the fun questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
All right.
Let's do it. Right, so before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
All right.
First question for you is, tell me something that your parents did that comforts you the most in the past.
That comforts me the most?
Yeah.
My mom's homemade cooking.
Yeah. What did she cook that you like the most?
It's just the South African food. Things like bobotie, and she would make us biltong and South African style crepes, and I'm trying to think what else was a good example. Oh, and we have this thing called melktart, which is like a custard cake pie thing. And she was a farmer, and I saw her on the farm, so we mostly ate homemade meals.
Wow.
And that's still, like, to this day, like, one of the most comforting things for me is food from South African style foods, because it's kind of hard to find in general, even in America.
Mm-hmm. And do you have siblings as well?
No.
Oh, the only child.
Yes, I'm an only child.
Amazing. And which person in your family you are more close to?
In between my parents?
Yep.
I think I'm equally close to them. I don't think I could say I'm more close with either of them. It's maybe different but I'm equally close to them.
I see. Okay. Next question. Let's do it. Hey, Crush. Next question is, who has been the most influential person in your life and why?
Probably Nelson Mandela.
Tell me about it.
I was born in 91 during the fall of apartheid in South Africa. My very early childhood was largely just the fall of that regime and the transition of power, and there's a lot of chaos in South Africa during that time. It was a very scary time, to be honest, and I was too young to really fully understand what was going on, but I could feel the tension kind of in the country and in my family, but he, to this day, I haven't seen a world leader or president or anything like that handle such a difficult situation with such good leadership. One of my favorite quotes from him that they had in the movie Invictus was when he was trying to push the World Cup rugby in South Africa, and like 90% of the nation was like, no, get rid of rugby because it represents white power, or it did at the time. And he was like, no, the people are wrong on this one, and if I am not able to show them that they're wrong and lead them to the right decision, then I am not fit to lead them. Right. And ultimately what he did was save our country from a lot, from probably like a civil war or something like that. And, he had this understanding that the Afrikaners were still South Africans, and it really like quelled a lot of the racial tension in the country in a very positive way. And, I think if it wasn't for him, the transition from apartheid to a republic would not have gone as smoothly. And I even have the national anthem that he chose for South Africa, which is Nkosi Sikelel' Afrika, is tattooed on my chest, very proudly.
Show me, if you can. If you show again and you can read it.
Okay. So it says Nkosi Sikelel' Afrika. It's Xhosa. It means God bless Africa. It's our new national anthem after apartheid.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think Nelson Mandela, it's so interesting. I think everyone who talks about Nelson Mandela, there's a respect behind, you know what I mean? It's so many people that's already, South Africa. Actually, my ex-boyfriend is from Cape Town, actually. Yeah. And so it's interesting to know, people, there's so much respect about, I think Nelson Mandela, he without a doubt, he left his signature in the words. I think when people think about South Africa, straight away Nelson Mandela comes along, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, and I wish we had some world leaders like him now today.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, next question, let's do it. Crush, when I was checking your profile, it says there you are pansexual and bisexual, yeah? So, for people who doesn't know about that, what a pansexual person is, what is your definition, being bisexual and pansexual as well at the same time?
I think pansexual and bisexual are very similar, if not the same thing on some level. I generally say bisexual, so I don't have to explain pansexual. But in the context of this interview, I don't mind doing it. Pansexual kind of just means that your sexual attraction is more, person to person, or situation to situation, and it's kind of irregardless of gender or body type or anything like that. And I still haven't really figured it out. I only came out as not straight a couple years ago, and I thought I had to find a label.
Right.
And obviously, sexuality is such a complicated and fluid kind of like thing that it's very difficult to label yourself, especially if you're just somewhere in the spectrum and you're not like very clearly straight, very clearly gay, or right perfectly in the middle, bisexual, which I'm not any of those three things. And so
Right.
I've like decided to land on bisexual and pansexual. I kind of say bisexual in passing if people are just asking, because then I
Uh-huh.
know it's not a long explanation of what pansexual is. And then pansexual, but I think pansexual is probably a more accurate description
Hmm.
of what.
I see. And growing up for you, did you have the support of your family regarding your sexuality, or was not taboo at the time?
Um, I don't really know the answer to that question because I've only come out about 2 years ago. Uh,
Okay.
and my parents couldn't give less about what my sexuality is. They're the strangest combination of liberal conservative people I've ever met.
Hmm.
They come across as very conservative, but they're extremely liberal, and they don't really care. Like they didn't even make a bit when I finally told them, they didn't seem like it was even like a matter for them to talk about. They just didn't really care. They were happy for me, whatever, but it just didn't seem like a big deal at all.
Hmm.
Um, I've never directly told any of the rest of my family in South Africa, um, but I think overall, like I'm just assuming right now because I do have gay cousins, a
Right.
couple of, and my experience, and this experience is different for everybody in South Africa. My experience is the homophobia in South Africa is not quite the same as the homophobia I've experienced in America. America likes to polarize everything and make a big, like, really kind of make a big deal out of everything. And so the homophobia can sometimes be extremely militant, like, God hates the fags with the big signs and kicking you out of your other family's home when you're 13, 14, coming out, whatever. And in South Africa, even with my family in general is extremely conservative South Africans. They're farmers and
Right.
very Christian and everything. But what it seemed like, even if they're being racist, homophobic, or whatever, it's more of like a much less militant thing. They're like, yeah, you're a lesbian or you're gay or whatever. We still love you. I'm still going to treat you with respect, but I think there's something wrong with your head. You know what I mean? And it's not that they treat you like you're not part of the family or like they don't love you. They just think you have a mental disorder. And
Yeah.
so, and I'm like, and you know what? I'm okay with that. Like I'm fine with that as long as you still treat me like you love
Respect.
me.
Yeah.
I don't really care what your opinion on it is, and you're allowed to have your opinion because I believe in personal freedoms. So, because I have opinions on things too that not
Yeah.
everyone agrees with. So,
No, absolutely. I see your point. I think it makes all sense. I think sometimes just because they don't have the information, you know what I mean? So for them, it's like, okay, you don't understand. There's something there that maybe, as you said, maybe could be a disorder or something, but it's okay. You're still the same person somehow. Yeah.
right, and like they might be right, but I'm not here to have that argument.
Next question is, what three things do you want to be remembered for?
I just don't want to be remembered for anything bad. As long even if no one remembers me, as long as I'm not remembered for anything awful, I'm happy. I guess if I would be remembered for anything is just that I was a very authentic person. I guess that's it.
See. And when you think about yourself, when you analyze yourself, Crush, what's the best part of being you? What do you like the most about being yourself?
Uh, what do I like the most about being myself? I think I'm really I the quality that I have developed in my personality or my character, especially in my adult years, is that I am a very non-judgmental person in
Mhm.
general. I definitely do judge sometimes, and I
Yeah.
catch myself, but I am very good at seeing things from other people's perspectives. And
Yeah.
because like I'm not as polarized as a lot of people are when it comes to any subject, like for example this homophobia thing or politics or whatever.
Yeah.
I can be on one side of the fence but still understand the other side of the fence and not, you know, just be like how could they or something like that. Like I'm pretty good at that.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah,
Ready for another one?
yeah, sure.
Let's do it. Next question. Hey, Crush from the US. Next question is, what does money mean to you?
Freedom.
Tell me about.
um So, I don't know. I grew up in a weird dichotomy of like being poor, but not necessarily the poorest person in my surroundings.
Mhm.
Especially when we came to the United States. You know, South Africa, everybody was just poor, except for like a few people. And but you couldn't really feel it because everyone was poor. So it's like you didn't really know you were poor. And I think my dad just told me the other day, he's like, he had like a pretty decent job in South Africa, but in today's money, he was making like $100 a month or something, or $50 a month.
Wow.
And when we came to the United States, generally speaking, we lived in much lower income neighborhoods for a large portion of my childhood. But so we were like upper lower class, lower middle class or something, but like everyone around me was like dirt poor, so I didn't feel poor, I felt rich. um and now that I'm older as an adult and like the world has just gotten super expensive.
True, it's true.
It's gotten so expensive just in my lifetime. I feel like money has always just kind of symbolized freedom because, you know, even just 8 years ago, I was a homeless man on the streets. And I've been like, I feel like to this day, even though I am doing significantly better than a lot of people my age, I still feel like I'm just digging out of that. Like I'm still just trying to get further and further ahead. And I guess that's what it means to me. And I want to get to a point where I don't even think about money anymore, which is like hard to believe that that would ever happen, considering that everything just keeps getting more expensive as I make more money.
Do you think money bring happiness?
Yeah, 100% it can. Like people who say it doesn't, I think are delusional to some degree. You know, like I do understand that you can have money and be depressed. I've seen it many times, especially when I trained rich people in Los Angeles. But I can't think of a lot of problems that I have right now that cannot be solved with money.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an element of it that's true. And because, like I said, money is freedom. It gives me, if I want to travel, if I want to not work as much, if I want to, you know, go do something or see something or whatever, I need money to do it. I'm not a very materialistic person. Like, I don't necessarily want to buy things, but it's more the idea of like, oh, if I want to go to, you know, like I went to France twice last year for the World Cup, the Rugby World Cup.
Wow.
And I needed money to do that. If I didn't have the money to do that, and that was the best time of my life, was watching South Africa win the World Cup live. Um, but I wouldn't have been able to have that experience if I didn't have money.
Absolutely. I think it's people, they sometimes they go like, oh, money, they are scared. They're afraid to say, oh, money is not good. Money is good. Why not? I think money, as you said, we need it. Is a somehow is part, as a cultural thing that say, money. Today, actually, I was reading something about Brazil, and in Brazil, this culture is if you get rich, you're a bad person. People, they have this cultural thing for you. You cannot be rich. You cannot change your life. You cannot get money. There is something, it's bad about it, and it's a different thing. It's just about, if you're working hard, you are making money, it's great. So why not?
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone who is successful in life that they started at the bottom
Mm-hmm.
and worked their way to the top and made a bunch of money, that told you that something similar to that degree where rich people are bad, or if you make money, it's bad.
Yeah,
Because I think it's all these poor people who are just playing the victim of their life. Because I do believe, yes, I understand that it can be very difficult to get
absolutely.
out, especially
Absolutely.
if you didn't get the right education, you're not surrounded by the right people. But if you're to say it's impossible is ridiculous. It's very possible. We see it all the time. In fact, the
Yeah.
most successful people we know are people who came from rough
Oh,
times,
yeah.
because there's an element of character building that comes from coming from rough times. But those people never play the victim.
Absolutely.
And if you come out of it and you make all this money, and those are not the people who will ever tell you that being successful is bad, making money is bad, that it makes you somehow a bad person or something like that. And I think that no matter where you go, you're going to get exactly what you just talked about in Brazil. I see it here in the US all the time with people being like, all these companies are just trying to, screw the people. I'm like, no, they just have to make money. And it makes sense. They can't pay you a ridiculous salary for just making a coffee, so like I think I have a good understanding of hard work pays off, because of what I've seen, and like making, but not just that, making the right decisions.
Absolutely.
Because it's not always just hard work. I've worked very hard sometimes and seen no fruits of my fruition, but it's also making the correct decisions, or having the discipline to make the correct decisions that leads to you being successful. And I think money is very often a reward for that type of behavior.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. I have 3 questions left. Okay, Crush, let's do it. Right. Before the next question, tell me, in your opinion, what's the biggest misconception that people has from, adult content creators? And the other part of the question is, how did the idea came along? How it was presented to you that, well, okay, I'm going to start, this career?
Um, I don't know how to describe it in words, but it's almost like people have this misconception that adult content creators are just like almost like the scum of the earth or something like that. Like we're criminals or something, or we're people who couldn't succeed in anything else, or yeah, we're just whores basically, and all the stigma that comes around that. Now, granted, in the gay community, that's not the perception largely. A lot of people in the gay community don't judge people for doing adult content creation. It's more in the straight world.
Right.
And it's even more in the straight world if they're looking in at the gay content creation.
I see.
Um, but yeah, what was the second part of that question?
I could see your face like,
Wait, you had
how
a second.
how it was presented, the opportunity for you to start your career.
Second, how was it presented to me? I think it just fell in with the stripping. A lot of
Okay.
strippers also do adult content creation, and it's just like the two careers almost sit side by side and they feed off of each other. And
Mm-hmm.
so there was the hurdle of like, once your is out on the internet, it's not on the internet forever. That you have to get over. But I got over that super quick because I just do not care what people think, and I do not care if people see my on in the internet, and so I got over that really quick. But a lot of people do.
Okay, if you don't care to just show me now. I'm joking. I'm just joking.
Don't test me because I've done it for a lot less than what you're offering.
Next question for you is, what was the biggest punishment have you ever received?
Biggest punishment, like from the government or something?
No. Like, I think growing up or, in life, something that felt like was the biggest punishment that ever happened to you.
Like a bad consequence, I guess.
Yeah.
I had I was, I guess you could say the biggest punishment I ever had was my drug addiction. Um,
Okay.
I had a very gnarly drug addiction that started when I was a teenager, maybe
Wow.
14. and it progressively got worse until I was 25. And then I ended up in a hospital. I was like, at 6'5", I was like 145 pounds, and my basketball career was over, and then the career I had after basketball was over. I had no money. I was in a lot of debt, and I was living on the street, and I had warrants. I was a wanted criminal, and I was about to serve a lot of time here in the U.S. Um, and it was all due to my drug addiction. And I sobered up after I got out of the hospital, and I, got everything sorted out. So it's been almost 8 years now. Yeah, March 28th will be 8 years since I haven't done anything. I haven't drank, smoked, done any kind of
Wow.
drug, anything for the last 8 years. My life has clearly gotten a lot better since then.
Wow. And when you look back through that challenge time, you know what I mean, from your teenager until 25, when you look back through that journey, what's the positive outcome that came out of that, difficult part of your life?
That I'm sober, 100%, because it seems like I live in a world where everybody is somewhat addicted to some sort of substance somewhere or the other, whether it be marijuana, alcohol, something. I don't need any of those things to do anything in life. And that gives me such an advantage. And a lot of people are like, oh, no, you don't have fun. I'm like, I've done plenty of it. I don't need to do it anymore. But I can work, I can go out, I can work. I never have a hangover. I don't need alcohol or something to socialize with people anymore, because I've learned to get over my social anxiety. And I don't need weed to make my life interesting or to relax. I can do it without it. It saved me a lot of money, by the way. But yeah, I can just live life on life's terms without the help of something changing my brain. And when I was younger, I used to think it was weird if people didn't do anything. Like my parents don't, but they're not alcoholics. They just don't do drugs or alcohol. And I used to think you guys are losers and boring.
Wow.
And now I'm like, this is really giving me an advantage, especially in a world where it seems like everyone's on something all the time, you know?
Amazing. Right, 2 questions. Let's do it. Next question. Let's do it. Which question would you like to be asked?
What question would I like to be asked? Oh, damn, that is difficult. What question would I like to be asked?
I can always change if you'd like. I can take another one.
I don't know. I was not prepared for that.
That's the whole point.
I was not prepared for what question would I like to be asked. I don't really care what you ask me. You can ask me whatever you want. I don't have like anything that I need to get out.
All right. Next question for you is, what has been the happiest point of your life?
When the Springboks won the World Cup in October last year, and I was at the game.
Wow. I think was against which country was against? I think
New Zealand.
I know. Yes, I remember that. I remember. It was quite tough, wasn't it? The final.
It was wild. It was a freaking amazing game, and it was basically the rematch between us and New Zealand of the 1995 World Cup, when I was just a baby, which is the World Cup that I was telling you about with Nelson Mandela. So he pushed to have that World Cup in South Africa.
Right.
It was our first World Cup that we were allowed to play in, because we were banned from international sport because of apartheid. And we were underdog. New Zealand was obviously the best team in the world at the time, and we beat them. And winning that World Cup basically saved our country from civil war.
Wow.
And this was the first time we played them in a World Cup final since then. And this time, the stakes were, we were tied for most World Cups with them, and they just won 2 in a row before we won the last one. And so this would have put us as the only other team that's won 2 in a row. But not only that, we would have won 2 in a row, and we would have more World Cups than them, and which would kind of solidify us as the world's number 1 rugby nation. And it used to always be New Zealand.
Yes,
And
remember the dance? The dance, they were doing the dance and everything.
yeah, and so now I've never been more proud to be a South African in my entire life than when we won that World Cup, and it was just such an amazing experience. Yeah.
Goosebump now. You talk that goosebump. When you went all the way to France to see the final, like you felt like, okay, we're gonna win that? Did you have this feeling or
No,
no? No,
no, I thought we were gonna lose. I thought for sure we were gonna lose.
really?
Because it would be too good to be true if we won. I just thought there was no way we're winning two in a row, that we're going to beat New Zealand again in the World Cup.
Wow.
And they just were looking way better than us. And we had a lot of tougher games leading up to it. And, you know, the last World Cup, we were the only team to ever win a World Cup that lost a pool game. And we lost to Ireland this World Cup again in the pools. And once again, New Zealand didn't lose a game leading up to the World Cup. And so it was just everything was saying they were going to win. And everyone was rooting for them too, except for South Africans. Every other nation was, except for, no, Japan always roots for us. But every other nation was rooting for New Zealand. And so I was like, if we win this, it'll be a miracle. And then we did.
Ooh. Did you have voice afterwards, or you lost your voice there?
Really, I cried like a baby. I never cried. That was actually the first time I cried since I got sober.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, something happened when I got sober. I couldn't cry anymore, and yeah, being there at that game, it just like it put me back in touch with my roots. I was there with my parents, my girlfriend, and it was such an amazing experience. And being around the other South Africans, kind of like it means so much to us as a country. And arguably more than it does for any other country, including New Zealand. And to beat New Zealand on top of that really just made it extra special.
Absolutely. Wow. Amazing. Good energy.
Yeah.
Last question. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Last question, Crush. But before the last question, I'm going to ask a question in two parts. The first part of the question is, for your career as a stripper, tell me a situation or a moment that you're never going to forget. For any reason, you're always going to remember that moment. And the other part of the question is, being an adult content creator, if you could choose anyone to collaborate with you on a scene, or, you know, which person that would be?
Yeah, I will never forget this day that a girl tipped me in coins on stage. But like a few cents in my underwear.
Right.
Which is super rude in the industry. It is super, super rude. And it was in a gay bar. But I only dance in gay bars. I don't dance at straight clubs. I don't dance for women. I only dance at gay bars.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very, strategic choice that I've made, because I do not enjoy dancing for women or for straight people. And the money isn't as good. But I remember this girl, like, girls tend to be extremely rude. Not all of them, but generally speaking, they tend to be extremely rude in the gay clubs and the gay strip scene. They come from like this attitude of the straight clubs, which is everything is catered to them. They don't have to do anything. They act extremely entitled, especially in today's world. The younger girls, my age and younger, just like have this weird thing that they think they're better than everybody, and they don't have to do anything to earn anybody's respect. And so they came into our gay bar, and our DJ was so they were screaming, and they weren't tipping, and they weren't buying drinks, because why would they? They're girls, I guess. But no one was buying them drinks either, because it was a gay bar. No one was interested in them. And I think they were getting a little upset about that. But our DJ was like, hey, ladies, if you're not tipping, or if you're not buying drinks, we're going to ask you to leave, because it's a very high-end club with limited space. And they kind of ruin the vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
Club. They ruin the vibe when they're like that, and they're not acting like they're guests.
Right.
And he said, if you don't tip, we're going to throw you out. So a few of them get up to tip us, and one of them gets up, and she just drops like 2 pennies, a nickel, and a dime in my underwear. And like, I was just like, the audacity of this woman, you know, like tipping only $1 is like, it's at least acceptable, even though it's considered cheap,
Mm-hmm.
but it's acceptable and okay. And like, no one's going to be upset. But tipping me in quarters or like pennies, basically, it's like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's like you're degrading me almost, you know?
Just before you ask answer the second part, Crush, just a question. When you perform, like, do you? It's like what you get during the night, the tip. That's how is you get your money, or you have like a contract, or you have like how does work for
It
you?
depends. It depends.
Uh-huh.
Usually, so there's two kinds of dancing that you usually do. There's go-go dancing, and then
Okay.
there's
Okay.
go-go dancing is usually a paid gig.
Right.
Because it's you're not getting fully nude and you're not selling lap dances. You're usually just on a box or a pole or on the bar dancing, and that's all you're doing all night. Is you're just eye candy on a bar or on a pole or a stage, and then people can tip you if they want to, but you're more like a decoration in the room, right?
Right.
And so those are usually paid gigs.
Right.
Uh, so people actually like a lot of my travel gigs that people give me for like one night or for a weekend or something. Those are go-go dancing gigs.
Right.
Uh, and those are very highly paid because you're not going to make as much money on tips because you can't sell lap dances.
Right.
Stripping, on the other hand, is usually not paid. So most of the time, if you do stripping, you're not paid, but you and at a majority of nightclubs or strip clubs, you actually as a stripper have to pay the club to work.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's called a house fee, and it's very standard. And even the women dancers at titty bars have to do the same thing,
Right.
uh, because essentially the club is not making any money off of you because
Right.
you're not selling liquor, you're not, they're basically making almost 0% off of the money that's being exchanged between you and the customers. And you're taking money away from the customers where they could have spent that on alcohol or whatever, right?
I see.
Now, you're still part of the environment. The whole reason it's a strip club is you have hot naked men walking around and you can buy lap dances and private rooms from them, but the club needs to make some sort of money off of that. And so they usually charge the dancers what they call a house fee. And that varies club to club, time to time, and day to day. But we usually pay a small, like it's nothing super significant. It's usually between, I've seen them as low as $5 and as high as
Oh,
$100
oh wow. Okay.
a night.
Well, no, it's okay.
Like you would show up and you pay the house fee, and now you're basically a customer, and you get to then make money off of the patrons that are at the club. You're basically paying that fee so that you can make money. Generally speaking, you make a lot more than your house fee, generally speaking.
I see.
So it's worth it. And it's in, yeah. So with stripping, with both stripping and go-go dancing, you make a lot of your money off of tips, but go-go dancing, it's usually a paid gig because the money's in the lap dances. If you can't sell lap dances, you'll never make that much money. You know what I mean? Like, how many ones can you get in a night, in for just like dancing on a box?
A lap dancing is just like you go in a private and you just have like let's say a moment with this person.
Right. And there's table dances too, which is out on the floor where you just do the dance on the chair, whatever table they're at, and everyone can see. Or there's lap dances in a private room where there's, usually like a curtain or something like that and like a nice comfortable chair. And yeah, and then there's champagne rooms, which is like a big couch and you can have multiple people in there with multiple dancers.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining that. And the other part of the question, if you could choose anyone like to collaborate with you that you haven't done yet, who that would be?
To collaborate with.
For adult content.
Yeah, actually, the person I've been trying to collaborate with, and I almost did, just timing did not work out. She ended up, I was trying to collaborate with her when I came to Florida, but then she moved right when I got here. Is this a girl named Austin Summer? She's a trans woman. She's a trans top, and I was trying to do a collaboration with her and another female content creator, because I don't know, I'm a top myself, but this trans woman top is just a fascinating person to me, and it's like she hits every button of my pansexual brain. And then this other content creator that I'm with, she's had this fantasy of being topped by a trans top, and so she's a bottom, but she wants to be topped by a trans top and just a regular cis male top. And so I really hope one day I get to collaborate with her. But the other part is because she's been a supporter of me since the very beginning when I first started my social media.
Wow.
And she's always, and she was really popular and famous back then, as she is now still, but she supported me when I only had like a couple hundred followers, and she was telling people to follow me and like helping me, giving me advice on what I should do. And I absolutely just fell in love with her, not like romantically, but I fell in love with her as a person very quickly. And I would love, absolutely love to have the opportunity to collaborate with her one day.
Amazing. Very good. Last question is, if you could change something in yourself or about yourself, what that would be and why?
The size of my calf muscles.
Why?
I don't know. Like I have this weird problem. I'm very large. I have like a large back, large shoulders, large chest, large leg muscles, but my arms and my calves are like kind of skinnier. And I don't know. I'm very insecure about it. So I want.
Interesting. And you were a personal trainer, even though you couldn't work it out on it, you couldn't make it bigger.
I did. I'm just genetically, it's not my most gifted part.
I love the honesty. I love it. Right. So then, let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's start with fear.
Courage.
Money.
More.
Life.
Life?
Yeah.
Maximize.
Interesting. Family.
I miss them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I don't know. I miss them, or one word.
Sorry. No, I thought you said something else. Now I understood. Now it's okay. One word for love.
Existence.
Okay. Religion.
Depends.
Sex.
More.
Politics.
Disgusting.
Friendship.
Very important.
Desire.
Useful.
Regrets.
Useful.
Like that. Success.
Necessary.
Wish.
Useless.
Happiness.
Important.
One word for USA.
For USA?
Yeah.
Opportunity. Very cliche, but I can't. As an immigrant, I can't reiterate that enough.
Wow. One word for personal trainer.
Diluted.
One word for adult content creator.
Important.
Okay. One word for stripper.
Fantasy.
Interesting. One word for South Africa.
The best and worst of everything.
I like that. And the last one now, Nelson Mandela, one word.
Greatest man alive.
Amazing. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your partner for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your partner, what is the most beautiful thing about crush, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on? What your partner would say?
The most beautiful thing about me is that I do not judge uh, her. So I'm dating a girl specifically.
Okay.
I do not judge her the way other men do.
Wow.
Uh, because she's also a content creator and a stripper, and I don't, I don't slut shame, and I don't care that I let her do whatever she wants, and so jealousy is not a factor in our relationship.
I like
And,
that.
and I push her to do whatever she wants. I don't let my insecurities control her life.
Wow.
And then the thing I need to work on more is probably being better at showing my feelings.
Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one. What's your star sign astrology?
I think it's Taurus.
April? May?
Yeah, 25th.
Mm, yeah. It's funny, interesting, because I have so many good friends. They are close friends. They are Taurus, and they love being into, like, they're never single. They're never alone. They're always in couples. Always they like doing things together. How did you path cross, to you and your partner?
She met me at one of my gay strip clubs.
Oh wow! And she didn't tip you badly.
No, she took me well. She was friends with a regular customer that came in to see me. He brought her to see me.
Wow.
And then they kind of like were there to figure out if I was gay or straight. And they were both right. Because I'm both, I guess.
I love it.
I'm a weird dichotomy, like, in that sense, because I'm very straight passing. Like, a lot of people who just see me on the street or anywhere, even at a gay bar, assume I'm straight.
Mm-hmm.
And they're right to a sense, right? But like then they see my nails, and I have like these pretty nails, and like, or making out with a dude. And then they get so confused.
You confused me as well. When I was talking to you in the beginning, the way you stand, your voice, the way, straight guy. But as soon as you showed your hand, I was like, there's something there mixed.
Oh no, I totally have a little, I totally have, like, and now it's like, it's hilarious. Like, I will, like, because with my girlfriend, like, when we go to the nail salon, I'm like, girl, I'm picking your colors. Like, you do a horrible job.
You're confused even more than people who works there.
Yeah, and I also, like, there's like one of my most gay, well, I don't know if it's the right word is gay, but one of my most feminine or gay attributes is I'm obsessed with purses.
Wow.
Like, I don't personally wear purses or use purses. I do have a couple that I use, but I love women's bags.
Interesting.
And, like, I love looking at them. I love, like, I love the different styles, brands, and I love, kind of like, my girlfriend will come out with her. She's like, all right, what outfit works like this? And I'm much different than a lot of straight guys. I'll be like, not that girl, or like, change your makeup, like, yeah, it's definitely my gay quality. And like, and we also, like, this is one of the cool things about she's also pansexual. Like, when we're out and about, like, we talk about guys and girls, that what we find attractive about them, because we both kind of, me and her, have different types a little bit, and but we like to talk about, like, I'll be like, ooh, that guy's cute, do you think he's cute? And like, or with a girl or a trans woman or anything, and it's just kind of like fun to be able to talk about that stuff with your partner.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely like one of my favorite parts about being, because she's the first girl that I've been with since I've come out as bi.
Right.
And I guess if you go back to your question way before this, it's like, one thing you want me to ask is, like, I guess it would be related to this now that I think about it. Since I've come out as bi, I've experienced more biphobia from women than I have from men or anybody else.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like if I am interested in a girl, sexually, romantically, whatever, 99% of the time, if they find out I'm bisexual, they are no longer interested in me.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. And I've grown very disappointed in women in general since I've come out, because I'm like, you are all super fake about your allegiance to the LGBTQ community. And you are all super hypocritical because a lot of them are bisexual themselves, or hetero flexible at the very least. But the second a man is, their attraction levels go down for him. My mom says it's because the women don't like competition, and it's very difficult to compete with men, and because men are much more free, less judgmental, and much they give in the sense, if you ask a straight man what he wants out of his woman, he's basically going to describe a gay guy. He just doesn't want the and
Interesting.
women know that. They know that they have all this power with their vagina. That's why they don't tip. That's why they don't buy their own drinks. That's why they expect men to do everything and they don't have to do anything themselves. And then if you take that power away by being like, I don't need your vagina, I can go be with this trans woman or man or whatever and get significantly better treatment than you're giving me, that's why they step away. It's easy to compete against other women. It is difficult to compete against the other genders too. And
Oh,
this girl that I'm dating right now is the first girl I have been with or dated or slept with or whatever, that when I told her I was bisexual, or that I, also like trans women, uh, was turned on by it.
oh,
She's turned on by me hooking up with men. She likes my kind of gay tendencies, like my nails, and she loves it. I've never felt more accepted by a female partner of mine, because generally speaking, I feel like when I'm with women, I have to be straight. And I don't like that because that's not who I am. That's inauthentic. And so the
oh.
more I've like been like, no, I'm gonna be openly bi or pansexual, the less women like literally, I can't remember the last time I slept with a girl besides her. It's only been men and trans women for like probably like a year now or more, because gay men and trans women do not care that I also sleep with women. It makes zero difference to them on their level of attraction to me. And I like that. That's real inclusiveness and non-judgmental behavior, where women seem to like secretly is like a big deal to them. Straight men don't really care. Sometimes they care because they're scared I'm going to try to, and they know I can if I wanted to. And but but generally speaking, straight men don't care because it doesn't affect them, you know. But women seem to have this like delusional and hypocritical mindset around bisexual men that's creating the stigma of like, you're not bi, you're just gay, or like you're too feminine. And I'm like, I'm not feminine, babe. Like I'm more masculine than most straight men I know. Just because I have my nails done doesn't mean that I'm not a masculine man, and like that's been kind of the greatest thing about dating her, is like I feel like I can still be myself, and I don't have to be more straight or anything or more gay, or like I can just be myself with her.
I'll tell you something, Crush. I loved your explanation, the way you explain everything now. You literally educated me right now in a way that I never thought about. All this concept, stigma you just shared now, I was here just listening to you, and I was literally taking, understanding. My God, I never had this kind of conversation with a bisexual guy who explained the way you did right now. It's very interesting. You literally just educated me right now. I never kind of thought this way. I mean, I'm not bisexual, so talking to someone who is open but bisexual and pansexual, you literally made me, you put me in a place where I never been before, understanding that interesting. Literally just made my day now. I really love the way you explain that now, because I never kind of being this point in this place to understand that. And of course, you've been there and you will know it. The way you explain it is very clearly and understandable. Amazing.
Thank you.
Ready for the last question?
Sure, let's hit it.
Actually, we didn't write the last question. I even got confused now. Right. So let's play now, Crush, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. All right, you can ask me a question now, Crush.
Are you a top or bottom?
Oh my God. Oh, goodness. Oh my God. Oh wow, you put me right in the spot straight away. My goodness. Right. Okay, I'm gonna be very honest to you. I experienced both and I enjoy both.
Your verse.
Yeah, absolutely. I have situations both sides and I enjoy both sides. I think it's I think some periods of your life you can tend to be this side, this way. It just all depends as well. But it's all sex for me, Crush, is all about the chemistry. It's when you see someone, you know what I mean? I think the touch of the skin and the whole thing, it can transform you. It can make. I had a situation that I was ready to be a top or a bottom, and it changed. Like literally during the action, it changed. So
Yeah,
it depends.
That always extremely fascinating in the gay world. The top bottom verse thing.
Yeah.
It's one of the most interesting things for me to ask questions about, because it's so fascinating how it works, especially when it comes to like the dom sub stuff.
Right.
Like with a puppy or a master and a sub. I know a couple where one of them's like a master and the other one's a complete sub, a slave almost. And they were telling me the same thing you just kind of said. Like they actually started off the other way.
Totally.
And one day they were like, let's try switching. You be the sub, I'll be the master. And then it like went way better than they both expected. Now they've been doing it for like 3 years straight. And they're so happy together. It's like, it looked like such a great relationship, but it's totally like a dominant, submissive relationship. But it's like there's an understanding there, and it's super fascinating to me.
I think when you are open-minded, when you are, everything, if you close your mind, okay, I'm just this, I'm just that, you don't explore a little bit more, because all of us, if you're open-minded, you can go in so many directions and you can enjoy, you can, it all depends as well, the chemistry. I had situations, I'm talking now, okay, I can picture a situation I had that for different, not just me, but other person as well. Like this will change it, and the person said, oh my God, I was expecting that to happen, and it's the first time I've done whatever. But it's all about the chemistry right now, the person as well. I think it's all, as you were saying about your partners, your current partner right now, it's all about that, you know what I mean? And of course you have tendencies, sometimes you go like, okay, this and that, but you never know. When it started, there is a chemistry there, and sometimes even without chemistry as well, sometimes it just can turn around and things can go in a direction that you're not expecting. So yeah, thanks for putting me this spot on Valentine's Day. Okay.
I mean, if you're gonna tell me to ask a question, I like to be provocative, so
it couldn't be a better question for Valentine's Day. Okay. Did you enjoy the interview, Crush?
Yeah, I did. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for being so kind and sweet and to accept the invitation. Also, as well, I'm going to repeat again to clarify your point of views regarding bisexual, pansexual, and I think it's good for people to see that, because somehow we are open people's minds and to them to understand as well. And sometimes it just, as it happened to me, the way you were talking to me, explaining, it just literally put me in a way to think about it. And I think that's what I like about the show, when people, they talk very open about things, and somehow it helps people open their minds and they become more understanding as well. Yeah. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Okay. It's actually a quote by Nelson Mandela.
Of course.
But courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it.
Amazing. Very good. Enjoy your Valentine's Day with your partner, your girlfriend, and you keep in touch, okay? It was a pleasure having you on the show, okay? Thank you.
Have a good day.
And you, take care. Bye-bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, First, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website www.williamandthemagicbox.com and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.